This is how Edmondson will earn your vote. Today I have with me Miss Kent, who's running for the 25th House District right here in our community. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you doing this
Good.
morning?
So we've seen you around in the community, getting out campaigning for this upcoming. Well, actually, tomorrow is voting day, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
So why do you want to run for 25th district? There's three other candidates that are running, and tell us a little bit about you so we can get to know you.
Okay, my name is Bernadine Kent, and I have been a teacher and assistant principal in the school system for over 20 years, and then I retired in 2001. My husband and I began an advocacy group called Parent Advocates of Students in School. So we started assisting parents and articulating what they wanted to with their children with regard to the education. In doing that, we found that many of the economically disadvantaged children were not receiving some of the tutoring services that they needed in math and reading. So I was able to act as a whistleblower and expose No Child Left Behind tutoring fraud and identity theft. I felt very strongly that if I could do that as a citizen on my own dime, do my own personal investigation, you can imagine what I can do at the state representative level.
Okay,
so that's one of the reasons I'm running, because I have that background in education and I have that background in advocacy. And what we need to do is advocate for our citizens.
Okay, so you want to take it from the schoolhouse to the state house.
Yes.
Is that what you try to do?
Yes.
Okay, and with that leadership from working in our school systems, how do you plan to get that done at the state house?
Well, one of the things that I'm very, very interested in is standardized testing and how detrimental it has been to our children in particular. In fact, the research has said that all testing usually affects minorities disproportionately. So what I like to do is educate the public about things, and one of the things I want to educate them about is the fact that the PARCC test was thrown out and there was no penalties for students graduating. Now they can graduate because the PARCC test ended up being a mess, and I believe suburban parents started complaining about it. Then they started taking notice of it.
Right.
But for the 12 years previous to that, our children, but for the test, could not graduate from school. I graduated from school after completing 12 years. Most people I know in my age group graduate from school after completing 12 years. However, we have 12 years of students who, but for a test, did not graduate. I want to change that, especially since for 4 years, there's not going to be any penalties with regard to graduation. So if now you're not going to have any penalties for 4 years, then why did we even ever do it for 12 years? They're planning to bring it back in 2018. It is a trick. It is detrimental to our children, and corporations only get rich off of it.
Okay. Now, your district is very big, and I understand with the education piece, but what are you going to do to help businesses, small businesses that are in our neighborhoods?
Well,
That's important, because in our community, it's about, we got to sustain our small businesses, or else they disappear after their parents die. Because, we have a lot of young people that are working in their businesses. So how are you going to help our small businesses?
Well, I think that we can start small businesses, and I think that, again, we can use education to do that, because you have to really know what you're doing when you start a small business. Some people go into a business and don't quite know and haven't done the research. So one of the things is education. It's like my brother-in-law told me when I had an idea about a business, well, it's going to take you 2 years in order to really flesh out that idea. I was like, oh no. But really, that is something to think about, that you need to educate yourself before you go into a business. Then I think that we should use internship programs. Many of these small businesses are next to schools, so we could intern and actually get grants if we allow our students to learn about business within your business.
Right. Well, I understand the education piece. All I have is a high school diploma and a little bit of college. And I've been in business for over 27 years. And all I did is just pick up a book and read it. So, and without any training on business at all. And I've been able to navigate my way around. So everybody might not have that heart and drive like me, but will you be willing to put together maybe like workshops and training programs to help the business?
Oh yeah, that's really what I'm talking about. Because what you did was educate yourself.
Right.
If you didn't educate yourself, you would not have been able to run your business. And that's what it's about.
Okay.
Making sure you educate yourself. I know people don't think education is important, but it's tied to everything. I'm not just necessarily talking about education in the schools. I'm talking about educating the parents. I'm talking about educating the community. Because what we lack is knowing what's out there, what we can get, what grants we can get. Those are things we don't know about. Take, for
Right.
example, dual education, where you go to college and high school at the same time. That's been in since 1975.
Okay.
But we didn't start working on it until 2001. Those are the type of things that we miss out on, but there's money out there for.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So now it's the big question.
Mhm.
What are you going to do to earn our vote in our district? And I want you to just look right there at the camera and tell them what are you going to do different than the other candidates, and how are you going to make a difference in your district to help the people, our children, and you talked about education and our businesses.
Well, and crime is a big thing too. Uh, what I plan to do, as I said, I want to make sure that I'm able to be your state representative because I have the experience and I'm reflective of our community. I'm a single mother. I'm already a senior citizen. I've worked in education. I've had to make sure that my son can go to college. I've had to make sure that my son can have more than me. So I have the same dreams and aspirations and the situations that have to do with elderly people. I worry, I'm an elderly, so I worry about getting ill and then being in an apartment or being in assisted living and who's going to be there. So those are the things that I would worry about. So I'm reflective of the community, and I think that someone that advocates should be reflective of the community, should have had experiences of the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you heard it from Ms. Bernadine Kent, running for the 25th House District on Earn My Vote with Al Edmondson.